last week we didn't have any demos. And we didn't have any topics, but we talked about things, probably PR and stuff. So today, we will have at page 11/12/2024. Demos. Do we have demos? I have to keep zooming. Demos 1, 2, 3. Videos. Okay, topics. Have topics. Let 9. Release. Okay. Status 555 here, and I believe I'm showing arrows. Going to hide that. Beautiful. So maybe a long list of commits, at least what I see. Remove module to module reference. Isham is watching the meeting. So we saw that we were mentioning there was, or maybe it's a time creating issue. I don't know. At least now. So I did, so the, oh, that's why I was like, yeah, that's better to use the reference to the controller, but it was actually why it was the reference to the module to reference the name of the controller. Okay, so now it's just like if the other feature is not there, then we'll get a link. That goes nowhere. But at least we don't have a hard dependency on the feature. And if and I'm confused because no placement. Okay, so there was a link made to the placement feature. Yeah, that it could at least check if the placement feature is enabled before trying to create a link to something that might not be there. It will probably be there, right? So in this case, it will mostly time work, but technically, if we are removing the reference in the module, we should check that the feature is available. Otherwise, people will have a 404 and wonder why it's there. However, I don't know who will disable placements. So we'll see. That's better. Use AddIndexProvider or OpenId. So there is a custom method to add an index provider, which is just saying that you are implementing an index provider, register that. That thing, adding new app setting for key vault, so we can set Vault URI. We hit new app setting for key vault, so we can set Vault URI. No documentation. So get Vault URI, and before it was access this key value. So this section, OrchardCore key vault Azure. Name. Every time I see that now, I'm like, why did we use such keys and not the hierarchy? Key vault name. So we had a key vault name. The key vault name property is not configured. Okay, blah, blah. And then we try to access a hard-coded URL based on the key vault name. Even though probably there might be other domains, like maybe there. So you know there is Azure.net, Azure.com. There are government Azures. So that might be the reason. So it was hard-coded here. Okay. And then now instead it says get the Vault URI from the configuration. So get the section Vault URI. Before it was key vault name. That can change? No, because we have it there. So if it's set, then we try to parse it as a URL and we say that's fine, we return the URI. Fallback, if we just provide a key vault name, then it's the same code as before. So yeah, so good job. I just want to see the use case. This is what I think it is. There is no issue. You see, Azure Gov and Azure China Cloud that even hold your eyes. So that's what I was saying. That makes sense. But it's missing some documentation. It should update the page where we explain the property and also the this was mentioned.
There's a change in the README, isn't it in this?
What did you say already? Oh, I didn't see this file. Thank you. Okay, cool. Don't we have that also in the generic configuration file? Let me see. I'll have it open.
In the app settings, JSON.
Yeah, I was wondering why I could see that. Yes, because it's been merged already. Yeah, so it's there, and yeah, we have that, so we should add a line this file.
It's true.
What's the name of the file? Oh, could be that. Then fix the user time zone service. Well, you should have written. Oh, Mike is not here. Mike is not here. Okay, so Mike, you are watching the meeting. You should have written fix the user time zone service this week, because maybe get another one next week. So the changes on this one is just that we added an interface, and then by the interface and changing the behavior, it was not caching anymore the values. So it was not a good thing. So this is fixing how it's caching the values. This is non-breaking because there are some obsolete methods, but there are new methods also that the service.
Mike is just joining.
Mike joined. Mike, we mentioned you and you joined. That's why you joined, right?
Sorry, I forgot to press join now button. I was tuned into that conference.
I was late also. I was also watching the videos, and I'm like, I saw my team's status thread. I'm like, am I in a meeting right now? And oh crap, it's time for the meeting. That's why. Right. So this one has been updated. There's a base class for handling all the user events. So now the implementation will intercept when the user is changed and invalidate its own cache. Also, the service has changed to accept string usernames instead of our users. And this is not considered. Isn't it considered? Well, no, this is a new thing. Yeah, this is a new interface because we didn't ship it yet. Right?
Yeah. It's not it's an existing interface, and to avoid the breaking change, I did what George loved the most, a default implementation in the interface.
George is the best. But did we ship the previous fix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of 2,
Follow.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so now it's cached and there is an interface. My recommendation was like, let's get this thing away and just use one class, but common argument was to keep it this way. So this is my contributor, add random order support. I got triggered by the features. I'm like, I want to implement that. So it's our friend Simon who said, oh, I can't order results in SQL queries randomly. And we had the support in SQL to order randomly. It's in the dialect. So the things that were necessary were to change the grammar to support setting a function like random in the order clause. So the SQL grammar, which is still made with Irony, which is a parser generator, as so that, and so to do that, it's like order by colon name separated by the direction, like ascending, descending, and now it's order by something name and either ASC, DSC, or parentheses and some optional arguments inside. So now you can say order by random parentheses, or order by foo, which will be another method. But if the dialect doesn't, if the internal dialect doesn't support that, then it won't work. So this is just for the grammar itself. Then the parser, when it is in the order by evaluation of the visitor, it will check that if the name of the order by is random, explicitly, or lowercase, and if it is a function, because it has a function args, a fun args node, then it says, okay, you really want to do a random search, so it will invoke dialect and replace the order by a random order by clause, which is handled by the dialect, meaning every database will render their own stuff. Like in SQL Server, it's new ID, parentheses. In Postgres, it might be rand, parentheses. So that depends. And if it's not the case, then it's doing the same thing as before. It's just not the same nodes to find because it's not the same tree that is returned by the grammar. Before it was something and then something. Now it's something and then something or something, which can itself have something else. So it's a different tree. And you see here how in Irony, well, how in the way we use Irony, you just get child nodes, value string, but all these child nodes, the first element of the first sub-element and this sub-element and so on, because we are accessing trees, and these trees are just made of nodes, and they are all generic abstract trees items. So each element has a name and maybe siblings or sub nodes with some other names. Right? So it's this is how you have to parse the tree to traverse the tree. If you use parallel, that we use everywhere else, like SQL, no, not SQL. What do we use parallel? Fluid and shortcodes. Then you would have a concrete abstract tree where it would not be child nodes, but order by clauses dot function or name, something like that. Just the difference. And then the test, select A order by random, and if you don't put the parentheses, it will really try to find the random column, right? But if you put the parentheses, then it says, oh, you really want to order by random. So in SQL Server, it's right. So that works. Fix. Oh, and I just mentioned that because we could re-implement this grammar using Parlot. It will be faster and easier to read and to implement. And it's not just about having the same child nodes in Parlot. It's about creating a new set of classes, which is the model of SQL, with a select clause class, an order by clause class, a where clause class. And instead of having a tree of nodes, we have a tree of selects, which has statements, which have where, having order by instances, and so on. And this way, the visitor is specific to this model. And the parser will also be faster because Parlot is 10 times at least faster than Iron. RangeQueryProvider to correctly assign nodeKind for LT and LTE. Yeah, there was a bug here. Case LT.getValue and not GT. So there was a copy paste, probably. The RangeQueryProvider. Interesting that there was no test to check that, and there is no test to update to fix that. I don't know what it's rendering. Lucene. So it's just a mapping directly to a JSON document probably, and we didn't check that. Extract PDF from file system instead of memory. Yeah, so I think I found an issue mentioning a few weeks ago that when we parse a PDF, we were previously doing new memory stream and then file stream copy to memory stream, meaning we would load the whole PDF file in memory. So if the file is 10 megabytes, we allocate 10 megabytes in memory. And Mike came with also the idea of a zip bomb, like a zip bomb, where you have a zip file which is maybe 10 bytes, but when decompressed, you just say, oh, please render 1 trillion of zeros, and it will take 1 trillion bytes of memory. So you could probably have the same thing with a PDF. So it's better to just say, okay, let's just store the file stream on the disk where it's coming from. It could come from Azure Blob Storage, come from a file upload, whatever. And then let's process the disk file stream to extract the text, and then just delete the file stream. And by the way, here I'm seeing that there is a problem. There are two problems here. Something we'll see later, because this thing, there is one problem. We are creating a temporary file, but we are not deleting it.
Yeah, there's a flag that's that deletes it. Remember, we added that.
Good.
Delete or close.
Did I teach you that? Because I discovered it last week also, and I said.
I think me and you learned it at the same time.
Okay, we're doing a pair programming.
Because we're researching it, yeah.
Yeah. So good. So file stream. Then it was creating 2 times, but you changed this PR. So right, I see Sham, and you added that, and you also changed
on the same PR.
File. Okay, that's why I was confused, because I just saw Sham here. So this thing here is GetTempFileName is creating a new file, which is empty. If you just call it new file stream, open or create. In this case, we just say, okay, I open the file that the GetTempFileName created for write access. It's not trying to create it if it exists already. It exists, so it's open or create. If we just say create, it will recreate the same file that was just created by the GetTempFileName, empty file. And now it says open, but delete and close. So whenever this thing will be disclosed or closed directly, then it will delete the file. Yeah, that's what it's saying. So that's great. Improve liquid culture accessor. A few months ago, we saw that the way we use this class liquid culture accessor as just a marker type for a property in liquid to say oh, we registered that as a value, as an object in Liquid. And when we access something of this type, then trigger some events to find the properties of the sub-thing that we access from this type. It was bad. So Hisham implemented that as a different specific value. In the end, it's the same thing, but instead of having a mocking type, we have an actual type that does things and that makes sense, and that we can reuse all the time. So here, CultureValue is a fluid value, meaning when you say in Liquid something like if you do assign a equals 1, a will be internally a number value class, okay, instance of the class number value. Okay, and so when you try to render a, Fluid will take the instance and call write to the output, and write of the number value will just write the integer that it contains. So here we say the culture value, when we write it, we write the culture info, that is the current culture info of the current thread, the name of the current culture info, which would be, in our case, in my case, it would be en-us, for instance, or maybe just en. Okay, so the name, that's what it will do. So now if we do culture, culture is injected in this code as a new instance of culture value. And this is defined as on the main template options, which means it will be a singleton. So on the main singleton template options, we set a culture property, which is a new culture value, which is this guy. So anywhere in any Liquid template that is from this module, the display management Liquid template, we have access to the culture object, which is a new instance of the culture value. And then when it's rendered, it will call the write to async in this case, which will be writing the name of the current culture of the thread. And then it has a get value method, which is whenever some property of this instance is accessed with a name like culture dot there for direction, then it says, okay, you want to access the name there, then I return you a new string value, which will be the get language direction of the current thread's UI culture. So in my case, it will be LTR, left to right. Okay? And you have access also to the dot name, like native name, display name, 2-letter ISO language name, like before. Same thing as before. Okay, so that's the culture value. Did I submit a new? Yeah, and then I submitted another thing, and I will switch to that directly because that's the progression of the PR. Then I submitted improvement on that with 2 new properties. Oh, because no, that was the one, and then I did that. Yeah, because we're talking about also changing the way the supported culture filter was done. So what we have today in Orchard is that if you do anything by supported culture, you get a list of the supported culture in the current system. So if you have the localization module enabled, you can define the list of supported cultures, and this is what you get. If you don't have the localization module enabled, you just get the current culture. Okay, and the way to get that is by using a filter, and you can pass anything to it, but it has to be a filter. And when I saw that, I'm like, and I wrote it, but I think it's stupid. I probably wrote it, and it doesn't have to be a filter. It should be a property like supported culture, a top level one. But now that we have culture, now that we have culture, it could be actually a property of culture. So the idea with this PR is that we are not breaking that, but the recommended way to get the supported culture is to do culture.supportedCulture. Okay? So what we have to do for that is to change the culture value and now say, well, on culture, when you access the supported cultures, you resolve the current high localization service for the current request, and you return the list of values. Okay? Otherwise, if it's not there, you return nothing. But there is always a service implemented for that because we always have a default localization service implementation. So we have that, and same thing for default culture. In the settings, you can have the supported cultures and the default cultures, which means the one that we use when you don't want a special one. And so now you can do that. Yeah. This one is completely new. There was no liquid support for that, I believe. Now it is there. So supported culture, default culture, and I added a sample to show how to use that. So before, you see, it was like culture pipe supported cultures, and it was never using it was just, instead of using an empty string, just use culture, but it had nothing to do with that. It was just invoking that. So culture.supportedCultures for each, for instance, in this case, and the idea is just to show how to build a menu. So you will say new item. If the culture that we are iterating on is the current culture, because culture by default now returns the value of the current culture, then we say it's the active one. And then we display the name of the culture we are iterating on. Okay? So that's the improvement of this PR. Okay. And there might be other culture improvements after, no other Fluid improvements. So if I go back there, fix equal command generation. That toString will return the type of the SQL builder. ToSQL string will return the actual SQL of the SQL builder. Marco. Don't use Path.GetTempFileName. So this is the same thing we mentioned earlier. So GetTempFileName. There are two methods to get a temporary file name, two ways. Either you call getTempFileName, but this thing returns a new file name in the temporary folder, but not only that, it will also create the file with nothing inside, an empty file, and close it. So when you say getTempFileName, it's actually creating a file. So before, the code will just call this and then create a new file. Or worse, it will just it will just create a new file after that. And the actual way to do that is, what is that? It was there before, but I'm confused by that. So getTempPath returns the temporary folder. Okay, just the name of the temporary folder. And getRandomFileName returns a new random file name. It's not creating a new file. So usually this is what you want. You want to get the temporary path and a random file name. And the combination of the two is a temporary file name. But it doesn't mean it's a temporary file. It's a temporary file name. Okay, so just the file name. This one was creating a file. Yeah, I'm confused by the code before, actually. I don't know what it was doing. So where is this thing used? Because, yeah, okay. So yeah, now I remember what this code is doing. It's creating a folder. You put stuff inside, and then it will zip it into this file name, which is also a temporary thing. So there is a temporary folder to put things inside, and then we zip it to the temporary archive name. That's why we have two entries here. Okay. And at the end, they have to be deleted. and the fix is applied everywhere. We don't need to create an empty file, just get a file name. Okay, that's good. It's just cleaning it. It was not a big thing before, but at least it's right now. So this one we saw, create path extension, get temp file name. But why? Ah, oh. It was already hard to understand the differences between path.getRandomFileName and path.getTempFileName, and now we have path extension.getTempFileName, which is not doing what the path.getTempFileName is. I don't like it. I don't like when we hide stuff that .NET is doing. Yes, it's correct, but it's like holding you by the hand to do something you should learn and understand. I don't like it. And now every time I will look at the code to see what is it doing. Is it doing what I want or is it not doing what I want? Not that I'm not doing that also for the .NET methods, but okay. Introduce FluidValue for hosting environment. So same way we used to have an accessor, let's remove the accessors and create a new class called hosting environment value, which will be registered once. And from this one, you can access the is development, is staging, is production. So usage is not request, environment dot is development, is production, and so on. Notifications. Wrong class. CultureValue should be truthy. Is just like every object that we create, they should be truthy, meaning in liquid. When we do if culture, it should be true. Okay? If we say the two boolean of CultureValue is false, then it will be false. But if culture is like, does this object exist? So if the object exists, the object should say, yes, I'm here. Add AddDisplayDriver service collection extension. So the idea is that when you before registered this implementation for this interface, now you call AddDisplayDriver and it will do it for you. And it's removing some extension methods. Sorry, extension methods. Some using should be removed, I think, by the way. Sometimes we'll see later. Fix functional test. That's me. So first is fix functional test one. Yeah, they were broken. So I was running the functional test. No, I was looking at the test and they were green. But when I look at the log, you could see in the log of the functional test some console logs. One of them was from this code, Mike. So the new dashboard part content type definition number, the one that registered the stereotype automatically with the widget stereotype with a dashboard part. So apparently sometimes this could be null, and then this event handler was throwing an exception like it's null, so you can't access that. And because it's an event handler, it will not break the logic because this event will just not be triggered or will just be ignored. And I could see that in the log, so that we fixed that. And this one also was showing some NullReferenceException because this thing here could be null. What could be null at that point? Something could be null. I just added code here. Yeah, alternate element could be null. So now I'm checking if it's null or not. So alternate element could be null. So this was also getting stuff. And I use this opportunity to introduce search value usage, which is available since 2.8, I believe. There are improvements in the .NET 9 for that. So this class has been added to be able to, it's not like regular expressions, but almost. It's a way to find text inside text in an optimized way using vectorization intrinsics. So like parallel assembler operations from the processors. And the way it works is you declare an object like this as a static value, and you create it with a pattern. In this case, a list of, it's always a list of values, like, oh, I want to search for dashes and dots, which is what this thing is doing to replace, right? Replace dashes and replace dots. But here I'm saying create a search values object for dashes and dots. And what this thing does is it's analyzing the things that you pass here, and looking if it's like just standard letters, if it's a range, for instance, like if it's A, B, C, D, F, it won't try to search for A, B, C, D, F. It will try to search for anything that is between A and F. So in terms of assembly language, there are operations that will use that hint to make things much faster, or parallelize the thing, or like search for it in blocks of the strings. Instead of one char by char, it will do it in blocks. Or if it's ASCII, then it can optimize it instead of UTF-16 stuff. So that's what the create will do. It will optimize the way it's searching values. So I just introduced it just to say, before we call replace, that will always allocate, apparently. We can just check, is there these things in the alternate, otherwise just return. Because it's commonly called, and sometimes we might not have dashes in the file names, and this way we won't have to do that. And it's applied on span, so that's why you have to do string.asSpan.contains any, and there are lots of methods like this. Contains any, last index of any, things like this. Like first index of any, like give me the first position of whatever is in this list here. There are lots of ways to use the search values, but it's super powerful. Yeah. I don't know if there are some videos explaining that. We should try to find one. I've seen an internal Microsoft presentation from the developers who did that. And it was super interesting to see how it works and the benefits. So since the .8 and in the .9, there are more ways to use that than just contains them, and more ways to create them that are optimized. Use RecyclableMemoryStream. So that's a kind of a big PR because changed many things on this one. So Mike started the PR because someone filed an issue saying we should not use MemoryStream, but RecyclableMemoryStream, which is a custom library that is available on NuGet. Is there a README? There is no README. This library return and NuGet. So this recyclable memory stream is a class that inherits from memory stream and implements iBuffer writer. So it's like a memory stream, which is a string of bytes. So you can read and write bytes on it. The issue with memory stream So when you do a memory stream, you can do ms.write and a bunch of bytes. Okay, I will just say 0, 1, 2, 3. So in this case, it will write like pseudocode. It will write 4 bytes to the string. But by doing that, when you create a memory stream, there is actually a buffer that is created internally of the memory stream, and with a default value. I don't remember what's the default. Let's say 256. I have no idea. And when we write, it will write in the buffer here from 0 to 3rd byte, or 4th byte, but 3rd index, 4 bytes. And at some point, we write, and then we reach the length of the buffer. Yeah. 256. Some bytes. And at that point, it knows that it doesn't have any more value. So what it creates is, oh, wait, let's double it. Let's create a new array of 512 and then copy the previous buffer into the new one. Okay? So every time we grow, it will create a new array, and then it will have to collect that, and it will have to copy the old value. So that's some allocation, and that will take some memory. And in the end, if we are writing 1 GB, it will allocate so many arrays that have to be removed. But at the same time, it's great because we don't have to know, because sometimes we don't know how much we write. We just read and read and read, and it's coming, and at some point we have to grow the buffer. So there is no way to that. So the recyclable memory stream, let's go to RMS, is also implementing memory stream. So you can do the same thing, but what it does is, instead of creating a new array, it will just pull a new array. And I remember that in this case, I think it's 128 kilobytes by default, it will pull. So first, the initial array is not allocated, it's just taken from an array pool. Maybe it's allocated the first time, but at least we get something that we can pull. And whenever we reach the limit, it won't create double the size like the other one. Okay, it won't do that and copy everything. It will actually create, oh, let's add another buffer of the same size. So in the end, we have blocks, okay, a list of blocks that we can call a rope string, a list of blocks, and it won't try to copy and to allocate with double the size. It will just pull yet another, well, not new, but pulled. It will just grab another pooled buffer of the same size, so we can add more stuff. So there is never there. Well, ultimately, the goal is that there should never be allocation when you try to write unbound buffers like this. Okay, memory stream. So that's the goal of the recyclable memory stream. And then when you're done with the memory stream, you call dispose. In the case of a standard memory stream, it will just release the reference to the byte array, so it will be garbage collected. In the case of the recyclable memory stream, it will return all these pooled buffers to the array pool. So another stream can reuse them, and there won't be any allocation. So this PR is using this library to change where it makes sense the way we use memory stream, to use recyclable memory stream when it makes sense. Sometimes it always makes sense, but it's always good to do that. It can't be usually better to use memory stream. Worst case is the same thing. So I won't go through all examples because some of them are complex or just too simple. Take a few of them. So I'm taking the first one, for instance. I don't want to take this one, it's too complex. I'll take a simple one. This one should be simple. So before sitemap controller, we are creating a memory stream. Now we are just saying, so by the way, this PR introduces a new type called memory stream factory, the infrastructure abstractions, which is a static manager of the recyclable memory streams. So you do get stream, and it will give you a new instance that will be pulled. And that's important to use a factory because this static instance of the manager contains the pooled objects. So you can reuse the same manager and the same pooled objects. And it's also configured. So we configured it not with blocks of 128 kilobytes, but 4 kilobytes, because the data we manage is usually smaller than that. And we can change it later if we want. Another advantage of that is that it has telemetry, events and .NET counters and telemetry. So if we were to plug Grafana or the Aspire dashboard, we could see every time it's actually pulling something and how often it's used. how often it's disposed and the max memory it's using, so we could see actually what's happening on the memory usage, which we can't with MemoryStream. So this one is just replacing the old stream by the new one, and it was storing a document, a sitemap document into memory, but now instead of allocating every time the size of the stream, it will just pool the size. Okay, that's the very basic usage, but it's already beneficial. And then I like to find a non-basic usage. These are the settings. Basic usage. Here we say we apparently not use that. Okay, non-basic usage here. Almost simple, but non-basic. So MemoryStream, this is file script engine. What is this thing doing? Base64 encoding. So create read stream to file stream, and then it was copying a file to memory. And then we were going to call convert to base64. Yeah, I think we are better than that now. So what that was doing is create a memory stream, copy a file in memory. Why? Because the to base64 stream is accepting an array only. Okay, so we were copying the file in memory, not the file, but yeah, maybe the file, but some content. Yeah, some file in memory, and then calling to array. And this thing here is creating yet another array, because the issue with that thing here is that, let's say you have 256 buffer size, and then you write 10 bytes. Okay, 10 bytes. And now you want to get those 10 bytes. We could return this array instance because it contains 10 bytes, but you don't know how many bytes from this one you need to get, because you can't get a slice of it. You have to create a new array and copy the values. So the to array, this is what it does. The to array is just taking the 256 buffer, creating a new array that knows we wrote 10 bytes, so it's just taking 10 bytes, and then copies the data from this buffer to this buffer and returns this array. So calling to array here is yet again allocating another one. Even if we allocated more ones there, copy the value. So the nice thing with this here is that the get buffer, in this case, so there are even optimization we can get from MemoryStream, but in this case, the get buffer will pull a new byte array of the correct size. Does it do that? No, does it return a span actually? I don't remember. Do you remember, Mike? Get buffer?
No, I don't think that buffer returns a span, no.
So
I don't remember exactly what it does.
Because it has to return us with value of the correct size.
What file are you looking at? I can look it up real quick.
I would look at it contiguous. Oh, no. Oh, wait. No, it's okay. So yeah, the nice thing is that, it's returning the array, but it's returning the reference of the array that was allocated before. And we can access the length of the stream to tell the to base64 that from this buffer, just take the length that we need. So no, it's not allocating a new one, it's not pulling a new one. So maybe it's pulling a new one, but if there was only one block, it will return this block and tell us this is 10 bytes. If it's on multiple blocks, it will allocate a new block of the correct size, or the minimum size at least, and a single one. So it has to give us a single block, a single buffer, it does it in an optimized way. So if it can return us the only one that exists, it will. If it can't, it will pull a new one. But we have access to the length to provide this thing here, the length. And MS doesn't let us access the backing array. There might be a way to access the backing array in the recent versions of .NET, maybe, that we don't know about. So, yeah. But that's a way to do that here, get buffer. And there are other ways. We saw that here, made an extension method for that. We use span, because with span you actually get a slice of the buffer, and you can even get a read-only sequence of the recyclable memory stream, which is a list of spans, let's say, of a segment, that will allow us to iterate all the blocks as if it was just one list of things that we can pass to some methods. So again, to not have to pull things to get views of the buffer that we are using internally. Yeah. So all these changes here using the recyclable memory stream to eliminate some allocations. See, creating zip files now, instead of doing it in memory, we just use pool memory. And some unit tests. Like the default document serializer is the one that is using, that is used by the document manager to serialize documents in, for instance, distributed storage. So now it's using that. So the JSON is not allocating arrays like before with a memory stream. It's doing it in pool memory, something like this. So lots of optimizations for memory locations. Fix JSON parsing errors caused by spaces. And here. Options. Okay, and the unit test to show the document that could be an issue. When I saw that, I'm like, we need to actually use this syntax. So instead of having to encode all the lines and everything, now we can just say triple double quotes and then write everything. It's based on the tabulations. Then close it, so the whole thing will be in this string. So that's easier to read and to write. See this one? HTTP request and HttpContext with values. Same thing as before, new FluidValue objects. Access the same properties, so there is no breaking change, it's just the documentation is the same, it's just the way to write it is better. Port suggestion from the .NET branch, which is using the .NET SDK and shows lots of warnings, and you see all these things. So now they are part of main. Fix media cache handler, because it's an async method. And usually, unless you do it on purpose, you don't call the async and return class complete, you just return the async. Or you add an async await. That was that usage of async await. Deleting submenus. Work. Select mode. I don't know yet why, but I'm pretty sure this is breaking something. Menu item parent get back. So we didn't use that before. Oh, menu item, sorry, this is menu item. Menu items, menu item. Okay, so menu item is file menu. Okay, so why did we have that then? That's weird. Menu items and then remove menu item. Now we say menu items equals select node. Okay, I'll trust the sham, but need some testing because I'm scared by that code. But it's simpler.
He said he tested it because I
Okay.
asked questions about it too.
My concern is you test what you test. And I know this code, we fixed some things by the past because, yeah, some cases were broken. And yet we tested it before. But the question is, how many cases have been tested? What kind of cases have been tested? I'd look at the previous changes on this code to understand why it was changed and what tests were done that was fixed to be sure that we are not regressing something else. It's not that complex for no reason. If it was simple as, oh, let's get the parent get path and remove it. If it was doing something like that.
I think I'm just guessing that that code existed before we added the get path, or because I remember there was.
It's new?
I forgot. I think so. I think it was
Okay.
something George might have added even. It's been a minute, so.
Who's George?
George.
Okay.
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
No,
It wasn't.
I think it was Tony
Oh, okay.
who added the nodes support form.
So test it. So if we want to look at into the admin menu to see you can add remove stuff, to be sure. Scares me. Remove unnecessary casing. We commented that because we used to have these and then we made it cleaner. Like every content item would have had some more classes. So you can detect, oh, it's a page for a content item and be able to customize it, but it can be customized in your own templates. AddPermissionProvider and NavigationProvider in OpenId. What it's doing, oh yeah, the new method to replace the old method. Because the new methods are better. AddTransient, no, it's not. I don't even know what it's doing. AddTransient instead of try adding another. That's weird. But
No, it's the same thing. It was saying scripter service descriptor transient, and then registering it regular with using the add transient now.
But what's the point of try add enumerable then? Because the try add means add it only if it was not there was no registration before. Now we just register it also.
Yeah,
there will be two instances.
I don't know why they would use a try add in that case, but you know, this is configuration and it should always be registers and transient. So when you say
Right.
add transient, like try add, i.e. numerable, you I don't know, maybe at some point in .NET, it kind of made sense that you had to do it that way. But, you know, when you, like, you can always add an instance and it will make it as a new i.e. numerable. So like you can have multiple registration of the I configuration option.
But the try here, this is why I'm saying try has been removed. So that there must be a reason, right, to say that we had a try before and now we want to remove the try.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's the
that's the-
only instance that it's been registered. So I don't think it even made sense to have a try because it's a configuration specific for the whatever service that it was using.
Maybe the try was wrong, but yeah, that's really nice to understand why it
Yeah.
was wrong and why it was there in the first place. Yeah. It improves functional test. Oh, that's me. Because I try to run them and they will not run. And I'm like, what's happening? And I try to change the source code. I'm like, the source code is not taken into account. So I realized that if you change the source code like something like this, and it's not working, it's because you need to generate the code that is run based on this source code. So I updated the README, and Mike updated my update to fix my typos. Just to explain how does it work. Like the previous command did not explain how it works. So now it says if you want to run the functional test, you run npm install, and then you have access to these commands. You want to run the CMS test, then you run npm run CMS test, and so on. Okay, and then creating a new CMS test, adding a test, Cypress commands for OrchardCore. Okay. Oh, both the src and dist folders should be included in source control. Okay, npm package 2. So where do I explain here to update? Okay, so to update these commands, use the rollup script to bundle blah blah this folder. So we need to, when you change the source code, you need to go in the folder Cypress commands and do npm run build. That will update all the dist folder, the generated files based on the source files here and there. Okay, and I saw that some files were, see the tenants.js, it was not working because this is the new name of the IDs, but in the dist files, these were there. So someone changed the functional test generated code such that the test will pass, but the source itself was not changed. So this PR syncs now the source and the generated code, fixes the command to build the generated code, and also adds, and that was the goal, it's adding a way to detect that there are some exceptions in the console or some error logged in the console. So now when we run the functional test, if there are exceptions or errors from events that won't break the test, then we should fail the test. So like there are new errors and new logs that we did not expect. So that's the idea. And this one was also to sync up the dist and the source. So that's the PR. All these changes. Last week we had almost no changes, and this week we have so many changes. Oh, we have more. So Mike fixing a breaking change, so reverting a class name change because it's a breaking change. We don't accept them in 2.x. Fix select content type usage in Azure AI. The name of the property is different. Was not the good one.
You pass you set the property, so if you encounter any error during create, it will pre-render your selection. So selected content types, you pass that as well.
Okay, that's
even
a new
during
thing. Okay.
create. Yeah, it's not a new thing. It existed before, but it was just it wasn't set.
Yeah. Prevent nullref in Elasticsearch. Just breaking changes. It's breaking my private reflection. And here, top docs assigned sort. If it's null, then assign it to something, so you can't mess up with top docs, which will be defined. And some other things here. I'm not sure it was necessary, but it's better.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary at all. It was just simplification because the Visual Studio highlights it.
Okay.
Sounds like I might as well.
Cool. So that's all the changes. Questions or topics? Okay. Already too late. So net9 and release.
Yeah, I was thinking about I don't know if we have time, but like, should we think about releasing 2.1 as soon as we release, or we bring in .9?
That's what I want to show here because we have options. So .NET 9 is shipped. We have a .NET 9 branch which supports .NET 9 and .NET 8, which is today's thing. What the options are that, so okay, net version will be 2.1. What does 2.1 contain? Does it contain just the fixes we've done so far, which are in main, and we can ship to 1 with that? Or do we also bring .NET 9 support in 2.1? Or do we ship a 2.1 without .NET 9 and quickly after, let's give it a few days in case we find some issues, to release a 2.1 point something or 2.2, and right after ship a new release which only introduces .NET 9, because in this case with this one you will need the .NET 9 SDK. It's not hard, we just need to download the SDK and you don't have to change anything in your code because it will build either for the .NET 8 or for the .NET 9, you have no choice. That's what I'm suggesting here. So that's an open discussion. So we can start the 2.1 release process and then decide to include the .NET 9 or not. I don't
think a reason why we shouldn't include we'll support .NET 8 and .NET 9 at the same time.
So
is there a downside from doing that?
What did we discuss that? I think we mentioned that. I think Shyam had questions about that, but I can explain. No, we are double targeting 8 and 9, okay? Which means we are not removing the .NET 8 support, it's the LTS. We are just adding the .NET 9 support. So nothing should break. And
yeah,
I
think that's the way to go.
What's important is that when you target the .NET 8, we are bringing only the .NET 8 references. That's very important because the .NET 9 packages like memory cache, there are 9 packages. They also are compatible with 8, .NET Framework 8. So you could have a project that references memory cache 9 and still target TFM 8 because that's fine. It's just new code from 9 that will work for .NET 8 with .NET 8. But the issue is that it might pull some runtime dependencies from .NET 9 also, and then these ones will not be LTS. So you can target .NET 8, but you might use some things that are not LTS. So the way we do reference things is that when you target .NET 8, we only pull .NET 8 package references and from the runtime, and same thing for 9, just from 9. Okay? So that should not break in any way. You can still target .NET 8 if you don't want, if you want to. But I'm afraid if there are things that we are missing, that some people say, no, I don't want to install .NET 9 now, but I still want the bug fixes that you made. And if it can be done in 2 versions and we have the choice to do that, then you can tell them to do that. That's my only concern.
I mean, but if we ship it with supporting 2, and if you don't care about .NET 9, then you don't have to upgrade. Stick on .8.
Yeah, I still have to install the .NET 9 SDK, and that's the only thing.
They will have to install it?
Yeah, because you have to install it to build, not to run or deploy. Because today our solution on the .NET 9 branch targets 8 and 9. So if you want to build the solution, you will need 9. If you want to deploy on 8, you will still need 9 to say build for 8 and deploy 8. That's the thing.
But that's locally, right?
You get packages, you can just continue to use .NET 8.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So if you're doing development for Orchard, then you have to use .NET 9.
Yes.
But if we ship your NuGet package at 2.1,
correct,
then you can pick and choose. Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. Agreed.
Who cares? The developers, I don't know. Yeah,
no, I'm just saying. I mean, if you're submitting a PR for Orchard Core, we want you to make sure that your PR is also compatible with .NET 9 because that's the direction we're heading. So like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Testing also maybe, because I've tested it, I've built it, nobody has run it. We've benchmarked it, but there is functional test, that's it. Maybe if it was on main for a few days, maybe people would test it and they would maybe find some bugs that I haven't found. Issue. That's why we could also say, let's ship 2.1 and then merge to ship 2.2 when we think it's working.
Yeah, I mean, we can do either way.
That's safer because releasing is not that hard.
Because people can still use, if they have .NET 9 on their project, they can still use Orchard with their project with .NET 9. So if I have a project that I'm using OrchardCore 2.1 and my project wants to use .NET 9, I don't want to use .NET 8, sure. I still can run Orchard. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes, now, since yesterday, since a few days ago, or, well, has it been merged actually? Yeah, it has been merged. The fact that I updated. Yeah, global JSON now is latest major, meaning the main branch targets 8, but if you install .NET 9, it will use your SDK .NET 9. If you just have the .NET 9 SDK, it won't tell you to install the .NET 8 SDK. It will say, oh, you have the .NET 9 SDK, fine, I can build the .NET 8. So that's why this changes there. Yeah, I will still release 2 versions, but unless people want to ship just once, just to give time for the .NET 9 to be in main. So as soon as we ship, we can merge the .NET 9 in main and let people play with it, see if there are issues, and
yeah,
ship.
We can do that. That's probably safer.
So 2.1, and you already created a PR, set the PR. Antoine already updated the translations, and you can reference the translations from Cloudsmith on the 2.1 PR and see if it's working, and then go on. Before you merge the branches, you ask me, because we'll review that. Last time we had some mistakes, and now we discovered that the release branches are deleted when we merge them. I couldn't find a way to prevent that. So, yeah,
oh, you couldn't? So
yeah. I found the settings and it's not there.
It sucks. Like, we want to auto-delete everything, but we want to be able to protect some.
Yep.
Like anything release, we shouldn't be auto-deleting. So
see, there is no way to say. Maybe I can add like, I don't know, maybe there is a rule set, it's a new feature. There's a way to do that. I don't know.
And protect anything release.
Maybe that's it. Release or release? Release.
Release, yeah.
Oh, I did that. Can't you from? Oh boy, I don't. I will. Was pushing. But I cannot do that, and we'll see what's happening, and can remove them. And
maybe I don't know if there is a way to prevent it from being merged back to main.
yeah, that's why I clicked the thing like history, flat history on. Goes. Yeah, I will do that. Done. We'll see what's happening if it's breaking everyone or such a reason. As this is done, maybe that's it. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.